Hi guys, Evil MacMarrow here. Welcome to my Q&A video. A couple weeks ago, I went on all my social media platforms and asked you guys to send me in questions that you would want to hear me answer. And I got an absolutely amazing response. You guys sent in some really incredible questions that I am excited to answer. I want to start by saying I know that some of you have been waiting for this video for a little while, probably a couple weeks. And I just want to apologize for not getting out there sooner. Things were a little crazy around Christmas time, which is like right before I sent out the plug asking for questions. And then, unfortunately, the day before Christmas Eve, my husband and I came down with what I can only explain as some kind of like flu plague. And I'm actually still recovering from it, so I'm sorry if I'm sniffing or if my voice sounds horrible. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started with the questions. I'm going to start with the ones that I got on Facebook. And the very first one is, at some point I speculate that you were an amateur. When you were, did you ever imagine that you'll reach this point today? I have to start out answering that question by saying I still see myself as being very much an amateur cosplayer. I am not someone who... I don't make money from cosplay. I don't get invited to go to conventions as like any kind of guest. And I don't really have a cosplay related business at all. Like a la like Yaya Han or Jessica Nigri, who really make their money from it. So I still see myself as an amateur. I'm very much a hobbyist cosplayer. I do it because I love to do it, not because I really get paid to do it. Did I think I'd reach the point I am at today? I guess the point I'm at today is where I'm making videos and people are somewhat interested in my work and following me on social medias and all that. No, I didn't really think that I'd get to this point. I really didn't think that I'd ever make things or talk about things that people would be particularly interested. Not because, oh, I suck and nobody cares about me, but because there's so many people out there doing so many great things. I'm like, yeah, I'm one of those people, I'm like, I'll just get lost in the weeds of it all. So, no, I never thought I'd reach this point. But I'm happy. I love that people are interested. I love every time somebody comes up and says hi or asks how I made something or is interested in what I'm doing next. You know, it makes me feel good, and to know that there are people out there that care. I'm like gonna cry now. I don't know. Okay, question number 2, moving on. Have you ever felt discouraged and disappointed by the things you create or during the process? If so, what do you advise young cosplayers? All I can say is yes, and point at these things behind me. For those of you who can, have seen my fairy costume or can obviously now see the wings. During the 80-hour process of creating these wings, I cried hysterically at least 4 or 5 times, which my husband can completely attest to because he was there every time trying to cage the lion of rage that was within me. Yes, I did get extremely discouraged. I think I've gotten discouraged probably during the process of each cosplay that I've made because I'm always doing something new and different and trying to learn a new skill. So the best advice I can give anyone is give yourself plenty of time. If you think a project is going to take you a week, give yourself 2 weeks. If you think it's going to take a month, give yourself 2 months. Like, I cannot stress this enough. If you are not completely 100% confident in the skill you are doing, like if you're sewing for the first time, like this is the first time I've ever sewn anything in my life. Oh, I can wait till the weekend before the convention to get started. No. Don't do that. Don't hurt yourself, because like seriously, it's only hurting yourself. So like, I'm going to, if I could grab you and shake you, I would. Just give yourself more time than you think you're going to need. That's my best advice. And another tip is do your research. Do as much research as you possibly can on the character that you're cosplaying or the outfit that you're cosplaying beforehand. Do, everything that you can possibly do. And give yourself way more time than you think you need. Seriously, just trust me on this. Just trust me. excuse me. What are the things that What are the things that are important for a cosplayer to know according to skills? That's subjective. Depends on what kind of costumes you're making. Are you making armor costumes? Then you're probably going to want to learn about foam or Warbler or Wonderflex and do your research on those materials and watch videos on those materials. Are you going to want to do a lot of sewn costumes? Well, then maybe you should take a sewing class, or learn how to make patterns and all that. The best skill that I can say as a starting cosplayer is time management, learning how to manage your time properly. No joke. Learning how to sit down and be focused and work on things when you need to work. Because I know a lot of people out there, you have full-time jobs, you go to school, maybe you have a family, you need to really learn how to manage your time, and that will only help you in the long run. Just sit down, make little schedules you have to, today I'm going to do this, and I'm going to sit down for an hour, and I'm going to sew, and just, give yourself the proper amount of time. Another great skill that is just a general skill is, again, research. I think Yaya Han refers to it as practicing your Google foo. I think that's right. So, and honestly, when I started cosplaying, I started watching a lot of her videos, and that is the best advice you can give any cosplayer. Learn how to do your research. You pick a character that you want, and I'm not kidding, you find as many reference photos as you can. If they are a movie character, you watch that movie as many times as you can. If they're a game character, you borrow the game or buy the game or rent the game, or go on YouTube and watch little like cutscenes from the game that involve the character. I mean, do as much research as possible, because you're going to save yourself so much second guessing when it comes to making it. Because, I mean, the more research you know, and the more you know this character front and back, side to side, their attitude, even if you're not a character actor cosplayer, someone who really embodies the character, it just helps to know how the person moves, how their outfit fits their body, and all that. So, best skills are time management and do your research. Do your Google foo. Trademark Yaya Han. Next question. How long does it take you to finish a project? That is very subjective to the project, to be honest. Like I said before, Wings over here took me, I'm going to say 60 to 70 hours roughly. But the rest of the costume that I wear with my fairy has been an ever-evolving process over the past 2 years. I first went to my first steampunk convention in 2011, and that's when I just fell in love with steampunk. And that is when that character was kind of born. But then it's been a long journey to upgrade her to where she is now. And in fact, the fairy is getting ready to undergo her, I guess it would be her 4th upgrade. So she's going to change again. So it's just very subjective. I did Aradia Megiddo for NDK 2 years ago, and that costume literally took me about 6 hours. It was a shirt that I found that I painted a symbol on. I made some horns. I bought a wig. I made a simple skirt, a simple little tube skirt that I kind of tattered up and put an elastic band in. Like, it took me no time at all, and I just kind of threw it together. But at the same time, it's one of those things, like, it kind of looks like it's just thrown together, while something like my fairy looks a little bit more polished. So it's hard to say how long it takes me to finish a project. It can take days, it can take hours, it can take weeks. It depends on the intricacy of the project. My Makote, which you can see the hat, is up on top of my bookshelf. That took me about a month, because it was all sewing, and I never knew how to sew. I had no idea how to sew. So honestly, it's a kind of hard question to answer. And I think somebody else asked me that question, how long does it take you to finish a project from inception to completion? And, again, it just depends on the project. I really want to do, like, one of my dream cosplays is to do Grenth from Guild Wars, the original Guild Wars, and I have been literally thinking about that costume for probably 2 years. And so from inception of the idea to completion, he'll probably be a 5-year project at this point. So it's just very subjective, I would say. But something I want to add to that is never compare yourself to anybody else. Like, if it takes this person a week to do the same costume that took you a month to do, it doesn't matter. You know, the thing is, you don't know their story. Maybe, you know, like Yaya Han can make a costume in a week. Well, that's what she does. You know, she sets aside like entire blocks of time to make costumes because that's what she does for a living. I mean, you might have a job or a family or go to school or not have enough money, you know, and you have to spread it out. And that's fine. Don't worry necessarily about how much time it takes you. Just focus on making the best thing that you can make. You know, just have fun with it, you know. And that's why I say give yourself lots of time, because you want to have fun in the process. You don't want to be up till 2 a.m. every night crying and painting and, you know, and have cuts all over your hands because you're trying to rush around. You know, enjoy the process is again, I guess that's part of the advice question, but enjoy the process. Next question: how often are you completely satisfied with your creations when your creations are finished? Probably never. I'm just gonna say never. I'm usually pretty happy with them, but I live under the curse of perfectionism, so I'm probably never 100% satisfied. I'm always striving to do better, so I don't know if that's good or bad. It's just how I am. So I don't know. Question number 7. We're just gonna go to the next one. Question number 7. Patterns. I love the way that this question was written out. By the way, it's like patterns. Do you work with them? How do you make patterns? And are they helpful? Advise the young ones. I don't work with patterns. I did make patterns when making my wings, as in I made sketching, and then I sketched that on the paper and I did all that. But when I made my Makote, it was the first time I ever worked with a commercial pattern, and I had no idea what I was doing, to be completely honest. And you can probably tell it doesn't fit extremely well. Some parts of it are really wrong, so I don't feel like I have enough knowledge to answer this question. The only thing I can say is if you're buying commercial patterns and then modifying them, which is what I did with my last costume, heavily mutilated them, get tracing paper. I found it's called Swedish tracing paper. You can get it on eBay. You can get it on Amazon, like a big roll of like thick cloth-like feeling paper. And I copied my commercial pattern onto that and then modified my copy, because I found that it really, it's a good idea. You don't want to mutilate your $20 pattern that maybe you bought, or even if it's your $5 pattern. You don't want to mutilate your original pattern, because then if you mess up with modifying it and you've cut your pattern, then you're kind of screwed. So always, get tracing paper, even if you just need to get big pieces of paper. Even if you can't afford, tracing paper is actually, it's fairly inexpensive. I think it's like $10 for a roll, is what I found it for. So, but even if you can't do it, then just do it on anything. Trace your pattern onto another, like muslin or something, and modify the muslin. Don't modify your original pattern unless you're really good at working with patterns. That is the best advice I can give. So as far as patterns, hopefully I'll work with them more in the future, and I can elaborate on that, maybe do a little tutorial or something like that in the future. If when you do a photo shoot with another cosplayer, is that cosplayer a personal friend of yours, or is it a stranger? If it's a stranger, how is everything planned out? I've never actually done a photo shoot aside from the little ones that I do at conventions with my niece, my cosplay partner, Nova Knight. So I can't really answer that question, sorry, but hopefully there will be a lot more photo shoots in 2015, and I will be sure to let you know about my experiences with photo shoots in the future, how they work, how to set them up if you don't know the people in them, how to, get in contact with a photographer. I hope to do more of that this year, so I will definitely come back to that in a future video, I promise you. Let's see. Many of us live in a small country where cosplay is not developed in comparison to Japan, China, America, UK, etc. Do you believe that for those of us who do live in such countries, becoming a famous cosplayer is a pumpkin dream? First off, no. I don't think any dream that any person has is an impossible dream. I've never heard that term before. Pumpkin dream. I like that. Pumpkin dream. But I don't think that regardless of where you're from, who you are, what you do, that you cannot accomplish anything. Granted, it might be more difficult because you live in a place that doesn't have big conventions, so there's not a lot of huge exposure. Maybe cosplay is not such a huge mainstream hobby as it is in the countries that you mentioned. But nothing is impossible. If you want it bad enough, then you do what you can. You work hard. You save up money. You go to maybe the closest, biggest convention. You get your name out there. I don't think it's impossible. But at the same time, I don't think that being cause famous is, and I put that in quotes because I don't even really understand cause famous. I think that the people that become cause famous are not necessarily the people that are aiming for it. They're just doing what they love because they love it. So again, it's the whole thing of just have fun with it. Just live your passion, have fun, go out there, do crazy stuff, make some amazing costumes, and just have fun. And nothing will be beyond your means. And even if you never become famous, you'll be like, yeah, I never became well known, I never became famous, but I had a blast, doing what I love to do. So just have fun. That's all I can say. I just want people to have fun, not take it too seriously. Have you ever thought of visiting small conventions/events in other countries just for the experience? Just for the experience, I'm sorry. I always thought it would be fun. I've always wanted to travel to other countries. I love learning about different cultures. I love learning about different people. I've always been really big into trying to learn other languages, even though I'm not very good and all that. But I would love to go to other countries and go to cosplay or nerdy style events that are smaller, so you feel like you can actually meet the people at the events, or get to know the people from that culture and how they view cosplay, or how they view these nerdy hobbies that everybody has, video games or manga or anime or anything like that. I do know that other countries do various events where they're not so much conventions per se, but just cosplayers and photographers getting together in a beautiful setting and taking pictures. It's not even really a convention, it's just kind of a cosplay event, I guess is what it's called. And I always thought that would be fantastic to go to. If I ever had the opportunity to go to a different country and experience something like that, I would be 100% on board. So yes, very much. I would very much do that. Have you ever made a friend request in a fan of yours that you were interested in, and if so, did you regret it later? I'm not sure what is meant by interested in. I guess that I found to be an interesting person. I don't typically just friend request people. I also don't really see myself as someone that has fans. So I guess I don't really friend request people I don't know in real life. There are a few exceptions, but I typically like to keep my personal Facebook page just that, personal. I post a lot of pictures of family and stuff I'm doing that I don't necessarily want the whole world to know that I'm doing, or don't necessarily want the whole world to see, pictures of my nieces, you know what I mean? So often no. I'm going to say no. But with the exception that I do love to talk to people. I'm always happy to talk to people on Twitter. I'm always happy to talk to people on my Facebook, via my Facebook page messaging, via email. So, there's nothing saying that I get to know you and we become friends, But typically, no. I don't just randomly friend request people. I like to keep my personal side personal, I guess. So, that doesn't hurt anyone's feelings. No, I will not friend request you. Question number 2. How approachable do you believe you are as a cosplayer and as a person if you meet somebody at an event or / convention? 100% approachable. Seriously, I'm doing this as a public announcement right now. I am super shy when it comes to being at a convention, being in cosplay, even doing these videos. I'm very self-conscious and feeling very shy right now. These are difficult for me, so I love it. I absolutely love it when people come up and say hi to me. It's amazing. I love it when people that, most of the people that have come up to me don't really know that I have a page or necessarily who I am. but they come up and, oh, I like your wings, or oh, I like your, your wig is so pretty, and or how did you make that? And like I love that. I absolutely adore when people come up actually interested in like construction of something, because you put so much time into these things. It's amazing when somebody is actually curious. They're like, how did you make that? That is the best thing to me in the world, when somebody actually wants to know how I made something. So completely approachable. Come up, say hi, take a picture, anything. I love it. Last question from Face. No, sorry, not. I'm sorry, not the last question. Many of us, if we were to meet you in real life, would want to spend time with you. If such a situation were to happen, how would you feel? I guess that goes with the other question. I'm approachable. I feel extremely. I don't know. I guess I'm like kind of blown back and a little flattered that to think that there are people out there that would want to spend time with me in real life. Like, that's nice. Everybody always wants to know that people like them. I guess most of the time with them. That would be situational. Like, do you want to hang out at a con? And go get something to eat and talk about cosplay and go to this panel and be like, yeah, totally. Do you want to come over to my house? Do I know you? Are we friends? Stuff like that. So very situational. I'm flattered to think that anybody would want to hang out with me, because I find myself, normally to be pretty boring. Like, I binge watch a lot of TV and play a lot of WoW, like in my off time. Like, so that's probably kind of boring. I just really outed myself there as a WoW person. So if you play WoW, let me know in the comments. I want to know. And okay, so now we're to the last question for Facebook. This person asked a couple weird questions, and you'll know who you are. I'm not answering the first two. I'm just gonna answer the last one. When are you going to make Scarecrow more Steam/Diesel Punk? I don't know when, but it will happen. Scarecrow is my favorite. Steampunk is my favorite. These two things must be brought together in harmonious awesomeness. So I don't know when. I really want to make, I do the Arkham Asylum version of Scarecrow for anyone that doesn't know, and I love his steam toxin glove, and I really want to make that very steampunk, and I want like steam to come out of it, and I want parts to move, and I don't know how to do that really feasibly. So whenever I figure that out, Scarecrow will be made steampunk. Trust me. I absolutely love that character, and I want to do him full justice. So another question that I got, sorry, I have them on my phone. What draws you to cosplay? What draws me to cosplay, I'd have to say, is, to be completely honest, is the aesthetic of it. And when I say that, what I mean is, I am a very aesthetic person. I'm a very visual person. I have always loved art, any kind of art. I used to paint when I was younger. I've always been into making things like jewelry, or just any kind of crafts, really, like anything. So I feel that I'm very aesthetic, and I see something and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have to make that a reality. I have to take that costume and express my love for it by making it something that I can wear. You know what I mean? So I love the creativeness of cosplay. I love that you can take something in a 2D world or whatever and just make it and wear it and walk around in it and just be all like enveloped in that beauty of that, that artistic piece that somebody, in games or manga or whatever, somebody took the time to draw that, and it's so beautiful. It's like, I just want to honor that by making it something that I can wear and walk around in. And that is probably like the weirdest answer in the world, because it's a very emotional thing for me, and I don't really know how to convey that across to you properly in words, in human mouth speech. But basically, just I love the artistry of it. I love that I get to create something, and then it's like wearable art to me. It's like a lot of people who love makeup, you know, they're like, it's wearable art, you know, I can do some beautiful things. And to me, that's what it is. It's wearable art. I can make something beautiful that came out of my mind, a la wings, and wear it and embody that piece of art. In a sense, excuse me, I'm losing my voice a little bit. So hopefully that answers it. It's such a hard thing for me to explain why I love it, I guess. So, what cosplay groups are out there I could get involved with? That is an amazing question, and thank you so much for asking that. I know that there are a lot of cosplay groups. The more I feel like the more involved you are in the cosplay world, the more you see it. But if you're somebody who's just starting out in the cosplay world, you're like, how do I get involved in these groups? How do I find them? And all I can say is probably Facebook is the best way to find cosplay groups. I know that there's the 501st, which is a Star Wars costuming group / charity group. You know, they do a lot of charity events and all that. And I know that they have branches all over the place. I mean, I'm here in Colorado Springs, and we have one here. I'm not sure if it's technically located here or in Denver, but, you know, we have one here, and I have a lot of friends that are involved in it. So I know that there has to be lots of branches all over. I feel like the best thing to do is go on Facebook, you know, or even on maybe Google and just type in, like, you're from Houston, like Houston cosplay groups, and I just know that you're going to find a lot. Here locally, you know, I feel like I live in, it's not a small town, but, you know, it's not a metropolis like, say, New York or something, but we have a lot of groups. We have Colorado Springs Anime Group, Colorado Springs Cosplay, Cosplay Colorado, Colorado Cosplay, Colorado Steampunks, Colorado Star Wars fans, Colorado Trekkers. You know, we have so much stuff, so it's like, I know that there has to be hundreds of groups all over everywhere. You know, it just would be unfeasible to think that there's not. So I think the best way would be go on Facebook, look it up. Chances are you probably have a steampunk group where you live, you probably have a Star Wars group where you live, and you probably have an anime group where you live. If you live in a place that's close to a big convention or a city that actually has a big convention in it, chances are that you could find a lot of local people that cosplay on that convention's website. A lot of the conventions have websites and they have forums. I know that the one I go to is Non-DeskCon. They have a huge forum website that you can go on. You can talk to people. Most of them are probably local. Some of them might be from out of state or out of town or whatever, but a lot of them are probably local. So I would say just take advantage of the conventions websites. Take advantage of Facebook. Go out there and find places. I know that it can be hard to infiltrate. You know, you get those groups like, Colorado, you know, you get the groups like the 501st, and it can be very intimidating to kind of infiltrate those groups, I know. But, you know, those groups started as just a few people that had a nerdy passion that happened to collide, and they decided to make a group together. So I know it can be intimidating, it can be scary, but just go for it. Put yourself out there. Chances are that you won't be rejected. And if you are rejected, then you just tell me about it, and I will go and yell at those people for you, because that's not nice. That's not nice at all. So I think that's all the questions I had. I did have another question from a very good friend, Mary, who I'll say hi, Mary, that wanted to know how I constructed my fairy harness and how in general I constructed my wings. And I'm going to say that I'm going to make that its own video, because I could talk about my wings for days. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. So what I'm going to do is make a separate video that's kind of a tutorial on how I constructed my wings, how I made the harness, and just tips and tricks I learned along the way that might help you not make the same mistakes I did. So look forward to that. I also had a few questions regarding a certain project that I'm involved in that I know that I'm wearing the shirt you can all see. And the answers to those questions, unfortunately, is like I'm not really at liberty right now to disclose any information or discuss anything along those lines. But very soon, I promise. And as soon as I know and have the green light to let it go, I will let all you guys know what's going on. So stick around, because very, very, very soon, I promise. And I think that's all I have to talk about today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it's really, really, really long because for whatever reason I just can't stop talking. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sending your questions. And if you have any more questions, put them in the comments below and I will be sure to answer them in a future video. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye!